I'll call this meeting of the Pownell DRB to order, March 7th at 7 o'clock. Or March 11th at 7 o'clock. Approval of agenda, oath, public hearing, permit application 26001. Nature Conservancy has applied for a subdivision at 716 North Pownell Road in Pownell, Vermont. Adjourn or continuance? Accept a motion?
I'll make the motion that we accept the agenda as printed.
Any discussion? Any amendments? All those in favor? Aye. Do you want a roll call?
There's nobody on.
Okay. No, I roll call. I didn't know Kate needed a roll call.
Jim Winchester.
Biggs,
Oh, Carl Strohmeyer.
Matt Gardner.
Cody Gardner.
Okay, so all those that will be presenting evidence or information, I need to know and a name.
Oh, John Wright, Advanced Engineering.
Mike Gardner, zoning administrator.
I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Do.
So, could you give us an overview of the application and the proposal you come with?
Sure. It's not probably a little bigger set.
Yeah, you do.
Keep my glasses, I don't know if I can read the one. You probably should have them come up, 'cause they don't hear very good from back there,
Okay.
so. So. What the Conservancy is proposing is, currently they have a 45-acre lot that was recently subdivided off the. I believe it was a Helen Church estate. Yep. And so they've got a section of land there that fronts North Pownell Road. And what they're asking to do is to subdivide off a 2-acre parcel of land that fronts North Pownell Road. Put a right of way up through the parcel to meet the zoning requirements to get to the rest of the land of Nature Conservancy. But keep in mind also, there's a 150-acre parcel to the west of this lot that's also owned by the Nature Conservancy. That's got, I don't know, maybe 500 plus feet, maybe 2,000 feet of frontage on Route 346 on the backside. So that's what they're proposing. It's a 2-acre lot. So the remaining lands would be 43 acres of that 45, original 45 that they currently own. And so you have a 43-acre lot and you'll have a 2-acre parcel. That's pretty much it. And
Is there an intended purpose for the 2-acre lot subdivision parcel?
I think their intent is to, I think they're working with the Habitat for Humanity. I don't know if they're selling it or donating it. I assume they're donating, but I really don't know. But I think that's the overall intent. It's really nothing that's really useful to them. They're there to conserve land. So if this helps out Habitat, I think that's the goal here.
So because it's a 2-acre lot, there is possibly an intention of building a Habitat for Humanity house on this parcel.
Yes, there's potential for that, for sure.
The thing that concerns me, and I'd like to bring up to the board, is a proposed driveway, as you mentioned, a right of way and a driveway into this parcel. Is there any engineering for that at this point?
No, there's not, no.
Because I have a concern with the elevation of the lot, the topography of it.
Yeah.
And with the water coming down off of that area for runoffs and potential impacts on the town road itself.
Sure.
So I didn't know if there was any.
No, that's all other permitting, zoning permits.
That falls in with this subdivision parcel. We have authority on that as far as allowing a subdivision with an intention of building on that. So that would fall under.
Yeah, we could probably sketch something up for you. Yeah, I looked at this real quickly before I came in from, if I were to go on. pretty much everything. I don't see any development going beyond that 700-foot elevation. It's probably gonna be down in here. And you're probably gonna bring the driveway off of this corner.
So that would limit your ability. It's only 128 feet worth of road frontage. And you have 30-foot setbacks on the parcel that you're
Yeah.
speaking of. So
Yeah, so I think this is the area probably for septic system. And the house, I would imagine, be up in this area. Just,
now town sewer does encroach upon that parcel. Was there any intention of town sewer hookup?
that'd be fantastic if you could hook up to the town sewer. I don't know what the capacity issues are, if you can, on that section. You might know that better than I do. I only really worked on the survey end of this. So, but that would be ideal, connect them to town sewer, if that's a possibility. If it's on this side of the road, I assume that's what you're saying, Mike, is it's on this side of the road.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think our sewer stops like. Right,
it goes to, does it go to
it
Dick's?
goes to Dick's, but I think it stops at Dick's.
Okay.
And I don't know, cause like if you look at our sewer district map, it stops right there, so I don't know. How that works, if that could be. Put onto that since it's so close.
If it could be, if we could,
Interesting question, I guess.
we could have an, extension onto that hookup area. Cause that would alleviate a lot of concerns as far as, septic design
Oh, yeah.
in the future, so.
No, a lot more land. You know, make it easier to get the driveway and
Yes,
whatnot,
yeah,
and building location.
yeah.
It's pretty, from what I can tell, it's pretty limited site for, you know, I don't.
That was my concern. Actually, my, I have a lot of experience with, I've been farming that actual parcel for a few years now. So I know the topography and the makeup and composition of the soils and the things in that area. So those were a couple of my concerns that I had with this particular subdivision. Because once you enter the wood line, the, topography does increase exponentially from the.
Yeah, you can see down, I put the 5-foot contours on it and you can start to.
Yeah, yeah, so, and I think the composition of soils change once you get beyond a certain point right through there.
Where that.
Mind you, just.
Yes.
Yeah.
Once you get into the
I know what
wooded
you're saying.
area because of runoff over the years and erosion on purpose.
feet.
Um,
And then you come in 30 feet.
any other questions from the board?
You got a question? Ask it.
I was just wondering, with the setbacks from property line being 30 feet, both sides.
We got 60 feet off 128.
Yeah,
Well, it's 150 foot
I
toward.
mean, you only got 70 feet of room basically up the center of, center of the property
House.
until you get to the top
And a driveway.
and a driveway.
Yeah, but correct me if I'm wrong, could a driveway not be in that setback, because it's not a building, it's just a driveway.
It has to be labeled as I mean, you have to have the easement to get back to the back section of this property. And
That 20-foot wide.
They have other, was there going to be a right of way easement written into this subdivision for the Nature Conservancy?
I mean, and that's the intent, that's what we're showing in the plan, I don't envision it being one for real access, maybe foot traffic, something like that. It's.
Because I know, like you said, you mentioned,
You're not driving.
you required, the, additional 3 pieces that adjoin this, so.
Yeah, there's that
Or this one.
150 acres on the backside. And I can confirm that with John.
Because I know you have access through the 346 property.
Right.
that's a walking trail thing.
There's an extensive amount of walking trails on the 340, access from the 346 property and over through and through. This one interconnects with the quarry, the tannery, the Dodge property and the church property.
So the only other thing I'd ask is, where's your parking? Because I mean, if people do come,
That's
He doesn't, he's just doing this.
that's outside our scope.
yeah, but I mean, if if you're gonna have a right of way through a 2 acre property that we're gonna potentially donate, you have no parking on 340 or on North Powell Road, right? Yeah.
Correct.
Right. Right, and it's purely for access.
Is that, what type of right of way is that? Is that for a vehicle access or?
No, it's just meeting the requirements, to be honest with you, it's just meeting the requirements of the zoning bylaw.
Okay,
I mean, 20 feet's wide enough for a maintained road.
It's
Right of ways by definition for subdivisions need to be 50 feet.
Yeah.
So you're talking a 50, if you incorporate a right of way into this, it would be a 50-foot right.
Yeah.
like, this is basically a residential driveway, if you will, that's. So that would be developed, so. There was a real right of way requirement in bylaw, so it. A lot, so.
For the remainder of the
Just to
property.
get this, because this lot is actually, they're separate lots, even though we got an adjoining, there's adjoining parcel to it, 150 acres you're just talking about. And it's all very high terrain, it's all up on top. Nature Conservancy is here for one reason, to conserve the property, and that's their intent.
Yeah.
And that's why they acquired this 45.
Yeah, which is nice. I mean,
So by statute, it would be not acceptable to subdivide off this 2 acres from the 45 acres because this would then make it a non-accessible lot.
Yeah.
The remaining 45 acres, even though they adjoin the other parcels.
you can't sell a dead lot, have a dead lot.
Right, without some kind of access to it. So by statute, the right of way would have to come through this property,
Yep.
which would be a 50-foot right of way, which would encompass a majority of the area going up through into the remaining property. Like you said, there's, in theory, it possibly could be done upon the positioning of the house. Unfortunately, being a 50-foot right of way would hamper the location of any potential housing unit that would go in there.
Certainly limited, yeah.
Because the setbacks
Yeah.
would hamper you from putting a right of way in through because you can't encroach upon a property line with a right of way.
Well, right away is not a boundary. So.
No, but it has to be defined, and I don't see any depth of a right of way through this property as you have it stated here in front of us.
Yeah, all we have shown is like, you're looking at the bigger.
Correct. You have a proposition of a right of way going through, but no definite indication of where this right of way would be, which would hamper our ability to approve this for a potential housing unit in the future without some kind of a right of way demarcation through this property as it sits. You see what I'm saying? Because by the statute of the 50-foot,
Oh, okay.
you're limited as far as, technically the right of way would be in the housing unit itself, purportedly, depending upon the location
Right,
of,
getting closer to.
Yeah. yeah,
You're
so,
eliminating that building and actual,
yes.
because on paper and they're real life. So, yeah, it's a real life building envelope for sure.
Yeah, because you've got yards and fencing or any multitude of circumstances and parameters surrounding a potential housing unit. So that's where I'm concerned with putting a right of way through this property, which, as you stated, would be a prerequisite for the subdivision.
Yeah, that's laid out.
Yeah. So, that was just one of my concerns when I saw the proposal and,
If I guess maybe, I would. Maybe a solution here would be that this lot, this remaining 43 acres would need to be accessed through the neighboring 150 acre lot. Maybe a 50-foot right of way or some sort.
have they incorporated the other lots into one solitary unit, or they still deeded separately from the acquisition that the Nature Conservancy got that?
To my knowledge, it's still separate lots, so they just acquired, I don't believe they have one combined deed.
Because this has started 2000, they started acquiring these.
That sounds correct.
Yeah, somewhere's in that neighborhood, this has progressed from late nineties to early 2000s. This has progressed from there in the acquisition of that entire parcel across the
Yeah.
top.
And this one being, when we're talking about 45 acres,
That was more recent,
a couple years ago, yeah. 23, 24, something like that.
something in that neighborhood.
So that may be a solution, maybe it's a document A, and a right of way has to come from 346 to access this lot. That'd be reality if you really ever were going to access this lot. The 43 acres.
It would make,
Like from a view.
I think for the board's benefit, I think that would make our rendering a decision much easier. Because I'm going to state that we have some reservations about allowing the subdivision with a right of way in it because of the composition of the lot and the topography and the things that are associated with a development, potential development on that slot. And I know the intention would be Habitat for Humanity, but anything from the zoning administrator?
So I see exactly what everybody's looking at here. I think from a standpoint of this lot with the 20-foot right of way up the westernmost boundary of the lot, right? That's what we're talking about, the westernmost
Yeah.
boundary, right?
Yes.
To access the other 45 acres does hamper and does hinder what you have for development purposes. And I think we can all sit here and say that it's Nature Conservancy land, the 45 acres above it or 150 acres above it or whatever, right? And the Nature Conservancy, their goal is to conserve land. But we all know goals and things can change, right?
Sure.
So they may at some point have to sell that to be developed. So I think that's where the concern comes from. Now that Matt points that out, I do have a similar concern about that, having that access.
Well, I would say this, the previous subdivision, if the access to this lot was a problem, it would probably have been a problem. Because it was approved as a 45 acre lot. And it's very limited access to it to begin with. Yeah, like you know, you're only gonna get that little bit of frontage.
Right, but now when you subdivide this 2-acre lot off that, now you've even limited that access down even more.
Yeah, correct.
Right, and that's, that's a concern that I have now,
Sure.
that I didn't really look at it, honestly.
Yeah.
Before that, so.
I know that the state of Vermont once, at one point in time, they retained a portion of land on the South Stream Road where they ended up with access on two sides of one piece of property. So I don't know if that could be a possibility to reconfigure this 2-acre lot with a access retained by the Nature Conservancy, as opposed to selling the 2 acres with a deeded right of way up and through. The other question I have is, and you may or may not know this, the other Habitat for Humanity houses, they're a deeded right of way through that parcel into the remaining area that the Nature Conservancy attained.
Fortunately.
That was a loaded question. I understand completely.
Is this on North Road too, or?
Yeah, just down the road a little bit.
Yeah.
That was, I was not on the board when that subdivision took place, so I can't answer that myself.
Yeah.
And I didn't know if you'd had any idea if you were involved in any of that. Because that was a similar situation where once they acquired that portion of land there, they kind of limited their access into the rest of that piece of property.
Oh, down there, you're right, it doesn't abut.
So there was some concern as to how that particular instance was handled. And I can't, off the top of my head, I can't answer that myself right now. Well,
So I think maybe, it sounds like, in my opinion, probably need to go back, look at this. See if a real road up through there, driveway, whatever, laid out, hopefully it's 50 foot. Take it almost to a development standpoint,
yes,
site plan.
Yeah.
Because it's so small.
right. I mean, it's kind of the cart before the horse, but in order to ensure
Right,
that you
makes sense.
that you can hook the two together.
I got a question on the right of way. And this is probably more of a Mike question. The setbacks to build a house, is it from the property line or is it from the right of way? If I was to put a house in there, let's say.
I don't know the answer to that, to be 100% honest with you, without,
I know you can't impede upon a right of way.
Correct, but I didn't know if, when you were citing a house, does what is the boundary? Do you measure from the property line?
I don't know if I've ever seen that. I don't know if I've ever seen that in the bylaws where it says from a right of way.
Okay,
And obviously, there's places in the bylaws that state
okay.
from property line, right, boundary line,
Yep.
or whatever. And I honestly don't know the answer to that question. I'm in the however many years I'm doing it, 5 years, or whatever it is, I've never encountered that question. And that's something that should be,
Setback is what, 30 feet from the boundary on that property line?
I also think that part of that parcel is in village, so I think it only needs to be 10 feet from one of the sides.
I think Hannah's right. I was gonna go there. I don't have my map in front of me.
That particular parcel is district village.
It's village and most of that parcel, the original parcel, is in RR1, but the little piece of where they're subdividing, like a little less than half is village.
Yeah, part of this parcel is in village commercial. And part of this 2 acre parcel is in R2. Is it R2 or R1? It's R1.
Yeah, I might be mistaken.
But there's R1 and R2 are it's just a number.
So
They require the same setbacks.
Yeah.
Would that allow for a dwelling to be pushed closer to that side if it's in the village by an additional 10 feet?
It only has to be 10 feet.
Right, and prior to that, what's the other, was it the 20 or 30?
well, that
30?
would actually, that
Would gain them the 20 feet and also help create room for the right of way.
if you move the right of way out of village
Right.
over to the R 1 or 2 side into the easterly side of this piece of property.
Wow.
You'd move the dwelling closer to the boundary line and not impede upon a right of way.
Yeah, if that is,
So this is your proposed right of way here.
yep,
Right, this part of the property is in the village commercial. And I don't know where the line goes through here. If this deeded right of way were to be on this side of the property, and you're now in the RR
Right.
2.
Plenty of room.
So your house can be moved
Yeah.
within 10 feet of this boundary.
It's obviously not
I
like.
can get it on, I can't pull it up.
That's what I showed.
Sound view.
Oh, village. and
The village, I mean, I can click on it.
Hannah's got that. She's got it up on the map.
Okay.
Get a change there.
So that's this shaded line here is your is your, village. This is your village right here.
I see what you're saying.
So if you were to move that, it's still kind of weird.
Yeah, it's,
That would put you very close to the road.
but I think in the zoning bylaw, I might not be correct, but I don't think it mentions anything about setback being from a red white line.
No,
I don't think I've ever seen it.
I just would point
Not impeding upon the right of way is.
Oh, you just can't go into it, right,
That's what I'm saying.
right,
Yeah.
but we could have. You know, there's land on both sides of the right of way, so private in this lot, you know, right of ways going up, so.
Right.
And this, as Hannah just pointed out. That will help us too. We can
Yeah.
Go back and look at it. I didn't realize usually it follows an actual property line.
welcome to Powell.
But it's a good thing. Thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah, no. Yeah, it's very, yeah.
Yeah. No, I appreciate, we appreciate it. But these things, we gotta go back and work on. See how this now lines up.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's kind of
Maybe
odd.
we can get that 50 foot, make everything.
Yeah, cause you're saving.
Right, well, you might have to just move your right of way. Fine, try to move this whole bunch of stuff, which.
Right, you know, all that house to get pusher closer in that village area.
Yes.
Right, yeah. Makes sense.
I would think,
It's just,
I would think another thing that
They're gaining.
you should look at
I mean, they really only,
is, and this is a Darcy question,
right, they really.
is where. Where the town sewer line comes up, and if that potential house site
I don't know.
is just gonna help you guys. Right?
What's that?
This potential house site could be hooked to the town sewer.
No, it goes right,
No, I mean, whether it's just extending that
goes right there.
sewer line up,
That's
but
where.
I know the other habitat. Just west of this is hooked to the town sewer.
What's that?
I'm positive of that down by Slippery, I'm
Right.
super percent
3 years,
positive of that.
just a pump down.
But I don't know exact,
Probably.
Depending on what man.
Right, right.
Because you
Yeah.
can't, you know.
I'm not exactly
You know,
where
Right, on the right away, right.
town sewer line comes up.
You cut back the amount of right of way that.
Right.
Yeah, because there's no, because the towns start down here.
You know, makes sense to look at this now from a more.
Deep.
Make sure we can make everything work
Right.
and satisfy, not just dimensional requirements on a piece of.
That's going.
And that was just, when I looked at
That's
this,
gonna
and
be
I, you know, I
going
had
their
a few
property.
thoughts like,
But it'd be in the right away.
an idle.
Yes,
The circumstances surrounding the potential of putting a house here in that, especially in that area. There's not per se a nice level area. There's a lot of potential runoff. On different times of the year, impacting the road, and then the right of way issue. And there was just several questions that I had concerning future development on this piece.
Yeah.
Itself, because like I said, once you get in the woods, getting a driveway and access to that particular portion would be very cumbersome. So I was just, when I looked at the proposal, I 4 or 5 of these questions just popped into my head initially, and I don't want to deny it per se, but I would like some refinement. And I don't know how the board feels on that.
agree with you, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some questions, and like I said, the right of way, the issue of locating a dwelling in correlation to a right of way, and so, is it a 10-foot setback from the right of way? Because you need to allow access for right of way in the purpose of utilizing the right of way.
Yeah.
So.
Now you're giving me homework to figure that out.
And is a 20-foot,
It's a big thing.
is a 20-foot right of way good, or is it 50 feet? Is it going to be a restricted right of way? As opposed to.
Yeah,
Foot traffic or
right.
potential vehicle traffic in the
I mean,
future.
restricted down to, yeah, because you want to put a restriction on if it's at 20 feet, because,
Now it's
Yeah.
foot traffic only.
yeah,
Do you have to, I have no idea.
Something like a tractor or something.
Well, right, what about like, this is nature conservancy land, people are gonna be able to use it, right? So what about like first responders? Does it have to be large enough, I mean, to get,
20 feet's wide enough.
well, I know that, but. Is there a law that states how big it has to be?
Was it a maintained?
Was it
way or
maintained?
Just a deeded?
I mean,
way?
you're gonna have to have something besides foot track if someone's up there hiking or something and has.
Well, that's a really good question, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I know could maybe never happen in 100 years, but somebody could fall, break a leg up on the,
Well, I know there's been issues
Yeah.
on the other,
and it isn't
The other end of it.
terrain to be up on, I mean.
in the quarry area, there's been a few instances where
right.
responders have had to get into that.
And there's, obviously 20 feet is 20 feet, but it have to be maintained. Potentially, I don't know.
So do you?
Just something to think about.
Or push hog, at least so they get access in and out. Mode
Yeah.
would be, yeah, exactly. Delineate the right of way
Might
for
have one
the.
of those big bucks.
There's not a lot of trail system on this side of that yet.
Yeah,
Access to this piece.
As things progress, there's a
and
possibility.
that's gonna be, if they make that into a walking trail, because they got no parking for vehicles.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I was actually, earlier about the
Like I
parking.
said, things change now.
Now we got.
This is basically a right of way to cover one's butt.
It's a right of way to satisfy the requirements.
Prior.
Low income housing or whatever.
I would like to
do park on the side of the right of way.
I would love to see them incorporate this into one of the other
Really not really
or some subdivision later on.
trying to develop a plan.
That would
There's, there's machines that can make it.
alleviate stress.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, issue if they.
I don't know.
And we could always involve it.
That way, you're turning around and combining this lot with
Right, no, I understand.
another lot that has a right of way coming.
So, what I just talked with John about is on this. If you change this right away. Satisfies a couple of my concerns, and I think yours too, Matt. If you change it from the west side of the piece of property to the east side of the piece of property and come up on this angle somewhere, right, up this angle here. I don't think you want to limit it to 20 feet of a right of way, because what if 10 years down the road, the Nature Conservancy, for whatever reason, sells this 45 or 43 remaining acres for, and it's not really great developable land, but there's always a potential because there's machines that can make it flat. Let's be honest. Or, right.
Bill Mayer should get to his camp.
Yeah.
So you build, so it becomes, you have a right of way up through here to potentially develop that if someone ever, for whatever reason, had to.
Would that be the village side?
No, village side is where the right of way is.
Okay,
That would be towards the
so
bottom.
that would be.
That would be more
That
logical.
would possibly make more sense if you have it on that side, cause then they can move the house closer.
Once that,
Village side.
once Hannah pointed out the village,
That changes.
Basically, they,
changed a lot of this.
Well, it gave it 20 feet.
basically, no, because Churchill has. Basically, they want to know that.
Yeah.
It is. No, it is. Well, it's a situation, but it's back.
Village.
Yeah.
I guess my
And this
question
way they
to
get
you
more
would be,
access to the village side of it.
would you like a continuation or?
Okay, yeah,
Work on these,
it has to.
right,
They don't need the right of way,
look at the right of way access.
only they need the right of way.
And that's really.
And that would be a right of way on their
Thing
side.
also.
It wouldn't, right, but it wouldn't affect, still wouldn't affect.
Yeah.
Restricted. Go back and look at it from a realistic, get the driveway up there, here's a potential house site.
Right.
I like the fact that it might be town sewer close by.
I'd like to see some kind of demarcation as far as a driveway
So a
goes.
little more of a sketch.
Yeah, just a proposal per se, so
Sure.
once this is, okayed or denied, either way, if it's authorized and okayed, approved, at least there's some documentation as to what the potential for a development would be on this particular piece of property, where the driveway would come in correlation to these other concerns. The house site, that could vary immensely from, you know, the proposal of or the permitting process there. But the driveway access itself into that would be a very, very large concern of mine.
Are we sized correctly if he does have to do a sewer?
That comes in the permitting process. The sewer location, that comes with a perk and the other parts.
That's totally separate from
That's a total left.
what you guys are doing here.
But
It's the
accessing,
next step.
accessing this lot from the town property is we have the authority to gain that information. Once the proposal for a house site comes in, that's a secondary permitting process. I understand your question, but we don't have the authority at this point. This is merely a subdivision.
Yep.
And back to the access point, we have the right of way into the secondary property plus the access into this property.
Yep.
That's a concern because of, like I said, you're gonna put a driveway in
Yep.
and access this property. Where is it gonna be and what kind of drainage is proposed
Yep.
along the town road? So how you're gonna handle runoff on the driveway and things along that line, once you get to the town road.
Yeah. That's. Thoughts.
Yeah.
But your point, requesting at this point. Continuance to work on, to try to revise the right of way location. To a more desirable location that's. A bit more realistic, given the fact that now we have a. Village district line in the middle of our. Acre line.
Right. Yeah. Yes. So, approximately how much time would you need?
We're gonna get back here for the next meeting is in another month from now.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that'd be my goal,
okay,
get on the next.
that will give you ample time.
I think so.
Okay.
You don't have to warn that again as a public hearing, because this is a continued public hearing.
I believe you do.
There was some question about it last time, I can look into it again, because I honestly can't remember.
Okay.
Yeah, it was-
I think actually, once we do a continuance, we can meet at any particular point in time, because that was, to the best of my knowledge, once we did that, then we could render a decision whenever we felt necessary in the time frame. So, but you can double check for us. And can you also clarify if there's any difference between right-of-ways in the bylaws? The width that the bylaws actually state is necessary. And that way there we'll have that information. And I don't know if there's,
Hook that up two hand with you.
I don't know if there's any differentiation between foot traffic bylaws or right-of-ways in the bylaws or
I
what?
don't remember seeing a single thing in the bylaws about right of way. To be honest with you, I don't think I've ever seen it in there. But if the right of way were to go in there, so that I look it up correctly, or Hannah and I look it up correctly, you would put it. Change the right of way from the village. To the rule, the RR2.
Most likely.
Okay.
It may have to sneak around.
I get it.
Have a switchback.
I get it, but
I wanted to make.
but you would more than likely start the right of way in
Yeah.
RR2.
Absolutely.
Okay,
What I can,
how's that?
that sounds good.
Okay.
And just,
I don't think there's anything in that, but.
there might be on the widths part of it, in most town bylaws, and I don't know. They're usually very specific on 50-foot right away for major subdivision, anything over 3 or 5 lots or whatever. And then if it's a minor, it's kind of open to interpretation. Sometimes it's minimum 20, sometimes it don't even have a width requirement for a minor subdivision.
Unfortunately, this falls under the major because of the
A previous.
frequency of subdivisions that has taken place on this particular piece of property. So this is why this got triggered as a major subdivision. Because of the time frame, even though it's only a 2-lot, because of the frequency of divisions on this property, it falls under a major subdivision. As far as definition goes,
Certain amount of lots created in a certain period of time.
yes. Yes.
Okay.
So unfortunately for that, yeah, I understand what you're saying. But because of what's happened on this piece of property itself, it triggers the major subdivision. Criteria. So approximately what date or which date are we looking at?
With this one's technically special, so it could be the first, the third Wednesday of next month.
Whichever John is comfortable.
Well, the first Wednesday of next month is April 1st.
Let's not do that.
No.
Let's.
Jump to injury. Just for the appearance of impropriety, let's go over that one.
8.
15.
Oh,
You could do a special, I did this morning, a special again. You do.
well, like I said, I think if I'm correct, we can do it at any. If we
So,
if we do, I could be mistaken.
15, it gives them a little bit over a full month, which would probably.
Hopefully I have another application for different projects, so I can get that, I gotta get that into you soon though.
and if it's before 2 weeks, we could do
That'd be my goal.
Yeah.
That's the other one you're working on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope.
Well, you could do both, you could do the continuation here and do the other one on the same night.
Before the 15th.
Yeah, so if you get her that by the end of March, she just needs the 2 weeks for the 15th. So if you go the end of March, you should be fine.
I'm on the hot seat.
So I move that we continue this meeting until April 15th, 2026 at 7 PM. The town office.
I'll second that motion.
Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
That's great. Thank you.